FU money. Bitcoin fixes this. Few. Brandon Gentile here. These are some of the common phrases you'll hear in Bitcoin. And it's because Bitcoin really does fix these things. All the ills, all the things we've talked about for weeks and months, many of them, if not all of them, are cured because of the root cause. The root cause, as in the Bible, the money is the root of all evil. This, in and of itself, on its face, is not necessarily true. Money, or gold and silver, or Bitcoin, or a currency, a dollar, those things are not evil in and of themselves. We know that. We know that to be true. However, most people stop right there and they think that's the truth. They think that's all there is to it. That in itself is not true. It's just an inanimate object. It's a tool. It's an economic container to store energy. Some do the storing better than others. Like we talked about, gold, Bitcoin do very well at retaining that monetary energy. And currencies are terrible and have mathematically all gone to zero. Every fiat currency ever has done this. So so money itself is not evil. It's what people do in order to obtain the money and do with their money, whether it's good or bad. People can be good or bad with money, and what people are willing to do and what people do and what it allows. That is the root of evil. And that's really where my passion lies. It's in the root. It's band-aids on bullet holes. It's cleaning out the cancer that is in our society. It's cleaning those things out. We're humans. We're going to do ridiculous things. However, much of it goes away, and merit and reality enter society again. 2 + 2 = 4 again, and we know the definitions of words. We know what men and women, who they are, because reality comes back in. You only get these endless wars and this insanity when you have a money printer go brrr. That's it. When you have the money printer typing digits into a computer, it creates 2 classes of people. That's why we have raids on some people and not on others. That's because we have a 2-tier justice system. It's because those standing next to the currency printer, next to the currency spigot, those are the people that make out while all the rest of the people get fleeced and then wonder what happened. And it takes a long time for people to realize what's happening. Most people have no idea, and there's a lot of people who never will know, and they'll never understand why they're making less and less money. They think their boss is evil. They think their boss is dumb or whatever it is, and they think the business owner is greedy, whatever it might be, because these are what things are told by the media, by politicians, when in reality, it's the politicians themselves. It's the central bankers at the top running the money printer and then coercing and bribing the politicians to do their dirty work. So those 2 people sit on either side of the money spigot, the currency spigot, and they get to benefit first. Whoever is the closest to the currency printing gets to benefit first and foremost, and really the only ones that get to benefit, because they get to use a freshly printed, minted currency, and then they get to spend it into society. And then once it's in society, now the currency itself has expanded. So if you and I printed currency, and the market doesn't know there's extra currency, so we go get to spend it and it doesn't affect anything yet. But once it's now in circulation, now there's more in circulation, the prices have to absorb that like a sponge, and the prices rise to absorb any excess currency that's in the market. This is why Bitcoin has 21 million coins divided by 100 million satoshis in each Bitcoin. So there's 2.1 quadrillion satoshis in the world. That's all there will ever be. That's it. Done. Can't go turn the currency printer on. Can't go fund 15 military packages in Ukraine. Can't have a 20-year endless war in Afghanistan, a 20-year war in Vietnam. Can't have a 40-year Cold War. Can't have a Korean War. You can't have these wars because the currency printing is not there. It's limited. It's finite. We have to make sensible, practical decisions. We have to pick our battles. That is where that term comes from. So we have to be smart with these things. Again, what more do we need to happen to understand that Bitcoin is FU money? People talk about this and having $100 million. And Lawrence Lepard is one of my favorites, and he says it so well down here. Non-state money is FU money because 20 years of annual expenses he says he wants, but not in fiat terms. 20 million or 2 million or $200,000 US dollars could mean nothing. Zimbabwe just had hyperinflation 10 years ago. Venezuela is going through it. There's many that are going through it actually right now. Argentina, where you could be printing $100 trillion bills all of a sudden. So if you're worth $200 million, you're obsolete. It doesn't mean anything. Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk could be worth $200 billion, but it doesn't mean anything. If the government's printing, just smacking out 200 or $100 trillion bills, you're obsolete in about a second flat. So that is the importance of having the currency returned back to the people. Jefferson, Washington, They talk about these, have quotes about these, about returning the money to the people. Money shall be gold and silver. It's in the Constitution, or it's in our founding documents. I believe it's in the Constitution. Don't quote me there. I believe it is. It's in some of our founding documents, obviously. I believe it is the Constitution. And it shall be gold and silver, because they knew these things. They studied these things. They even had the Continental, which hyperinflated. And this is the transfer of wealth from the people to the rich, the 1%. I hate to say elites. I say elites too much, because many of these people aren't elite at all. They're elite at nothing. They've never run a business in their life. They've never held an actual job, and they're not elite at anything. They are elite at sucking at the teat and brown nosing and kowtowing. That's it. That's not a skill. I can't stand those people. I've never been able to stand those people. When I was playing hockey my entire life, people that brown nose and suck up to the coach, I despise those people. So, FU money, true FU money outside the system. We see the Chinese bank runs right now going on. We see them trying to take money out of the system. There are money out of the bank. Learning. I said the other day, another person come to me and say, hey, I went to the bank to try to get $10,000 out on a Saturday, and the bank almost shut down because they were like, oh, we don't have that much money in here. And she was like, what do you mean? It's my money. I've got hundreds of thousands of dollars in here. No, we don't have that money. So people are starting to wake up as to what's going on. True FU money, non-state money. Because again, if you are holding dollars, you could be worth nothing. So we have to hedge. We have to get out of the system somehow. A 401k, a pension, just holding dollars in a bank account, that's all the same system. Holding stocks, holding bonds, that's all the same currency. That's all dollars. You could be locked out of the system like that. If someone doesn't like you, someone doesn't want you, just like in China, they switched all their COVID passports, boom, red, go home, you've got COVID all of a sudden. Excuse me? That's coming here. They've said that's coming here. They've talked about it. The World Economic Forum, the IMF, the Bank of International Settlements, all the global organizations. We've gone on and on and on and on about this stuff. This is coming. And again, I don't have enough time to share this in every single post. That's why I come and I record the vlog, because the post can only be so long before people tune out. But hopefully people can speed these up and go through these and listen to these, because this is where we are headed. This is where, and again, even if you're 80 years old or 60, you say, hey, I'm not going to be around for that. Well, your kids are going to be around for it. Your grandkids are going to be around for this. Your great-grandkids, your posterity will be around for this. So again, what more do we need to happen? Baby formula being dumped everywhere around the country. Videos of that now coming out, just like water, on runways from FEMA after hurricanes coming through and just being wasted. That's the government waste. There's no incentive to be efficient in government. So they're dumping baby formula. I don't know. You make the decision. Was it purposeful? Or is that just a fluke, a coincidence that baby formula is just being dumped out and stored in pallets in yards and stuff like that? What's going on? Truckers in Canada getting their accounts frozen? That's not Venezuela, guys. That's a first world country next door to us. Just frozen out of the system because they're protesting the government off of unconstitutional mandates. Well, unconstitutional here in America, at least. In Canada, I don't know what the laws are, but being forced, being mandated to do things. That's insanity. Ukraine refugees getting to flee with their wealth in their head, 12 to 24 words in their head. Government censoring social media and anything that walks and talks that they don't like. Again, we just said these things are coming here. They've telescoped this, or they telegraphed this. This is the farmers, the Dutch farmers, now getting their businesses for hundreds of years, their business, their livelihood, their family, the family crest, everything was around their farming, what they did, and they're just being shut down. Just because the Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum says, you know what, we want these ESG scores, you got to improve this, we're going to go all climate, all green. Well, we saw how that happened in Sri Lanka. They had the best climate score, 98% climate score, and they just collapsed. So we're seeing the fruits of the climate agenda play out, and we've been seeing it for 20 years now, really ramped up 20 years ago. And this is all part of the big turnover. We're not going to say the name. I have the book here somewhere. But this is why. This is the world we are living in. And this is it. Read this book. CVC by the guy who runs the Blaze. I'm not going to say his name either, because who knows. But this is why this is so important, because these people are trying to run everything in your life. It's what's coming. It's what's happening. And they're writing about it. And we have their books about it. We have Great Reset, The Great Narrative of Klaus Schwab. These people are writing about it. They're honest and open. They want cannibalism. They want world hunger. The UN's written about that. Keeps people happy, or keeps people hungry to work, actually being hungry. They want cannibalism. They want you eating bugs. Again, this is them saying this. And it sounds crazy. But after reading this now for a few years, I know that it's going. It doesn't seem crazy anymore because I've read it so many times. I've watched so many of their videos trying to prepare myself and my family for what's going on. Ships purposely stuck at ports, maybe? You know, what's going on? The altcoins blowing up, altcoin scams, exchanges blowing up, historic inflation, monetary debasement. And again, we have, you know, this is the dollar to Bitcoin. This is what's happened. If you held a dollar last 12 years since Bitcoin's come out, this is your purchasing power compared to Bitcoin. So people want to sit here and say, hey, is Bitcoin a good inflation hedge? I don't know. You tell me. What does this look like to you? Say it looks pretty good to me. So that's exactly what we're dealing with. That's exactly the problem of everything going on. President shutting down pipelines to increase energy costs. But again, if you're holding Bitcoin, if you've been holding Bitcoin for 10 years, your life's got cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. And again, the administration prioritizing climate models and a liberal world order, to their own words, over Americans' own well-being, freedoms, wealth, etc. This is insanity. It's absolute insanity. Again, holding non-state controlled money. What our founders wanted, the money coming back to the people. They told us, if you have central banks controlling through first inflation, then deflation, and back and forth, organizations and entities will rise up around them that will enslave the continent that your forefathers conquered. Direct quotes from Jefferson and Washington. I forget which one said that. This couldn't be more obvious, and we absolutely need to move to a standard that is finite. Can you imagine? The amazing thing about Bitcoin is that you can measure anything against Bitcoin because Bitcoin's finite. It's 21 million. You have a control. When we're running experiments, as we all know in science, you need a control. You need something stable. You can't have all these variables. Well, the dollar is a variable by definition because it's constantly moving. It's constantly moving. It's all going all over the place. They print currency more and more every day, so it keeps losing value. So everything you're doing, like the pricing of homes, keeps going up because the price of the dollar keeps going down, the value of the dollar. So that means assets keep rising in price because the value of the dollar in the denominator keeps going down. It's just a fraction. That's all it is. But Bitcoin is amazing because now you can measure things against each other. And again, here we have, this is an amazing article by Fred, which is the Federal Reserve economic data site, and they are showing you, they dunked on themselves. They were trying to say, oh, look, Bitcoin, the price has gone up. They showed you 1 year. Well, guess what? When you zoom out, look at the price of eggs since 2015. Here's the price of eggs in dollars. It goes up, it goes down, going back up again the last couple of years, going really up. Inflation, obviously. And they tried to show you here, was it the last year or so, it's been the last 2 years. They should try to show you in Bitcoin. Like, this is the graph they showed. Oh my gosh, look how it's gone up and down. Look, if you go back to 2015, though, like I just showed you up here. So this is 2015 in dollars, eggs priced in dollars. Here it is priced in Bitcoin. Again, destroyed. Kind of looks like the dollar, right? Because everything, you have a controlled experiment. It's a finite asset. So you can measure anything against Bitcoin. This is the true power of Bitcoin and what is going on. Here, I got another one. Palo Alto homes priced in Bitcoin. You want to buy a home in Palo Alto? That'd be nice. Here it is, priced in Bitcoin. Crashed through the floor. If you bought it in dollars, if you have it in dollars, you'd have to pay more and more and more and more dollars because the value of the dollar keeps going down. So the price of the home keeps going up. But if you held Bitcoin the last 10 years, the value of the home is crashing. It's through the floor. It's trying to go through to zero. It's kind of trying to go negative. They're almost paying you at this point if you're holding Bitcoin. That is the power of holding a finite asset. The human's best monetary invention we've ever created. As Robert Kiyosaki says, gold is God's money. Fiat currencies are the government's money. And Bitcoin are the people's money. So I've tons of these charts where I can, here's more. Again, Apple, you can just look at even Apple. If you held Apple versus Palo Alto Homes, it's gone down. If you held Apple stock, it's gone up a bit, but nothing like Bitcoin. I mean, boy, oh boy, your life is so cheap right now if you've held Bitcoin the last 10 years. So pretty good debasement hedge, pretty good inflation hedge, if I do say so. So again, Bitcoin is a life raft on a sinking ship. And again, let me know if you guys like me flipping around, doing different things. I might try some different stuff here as well. I might try to go to some different topics and show you headlines and show you the actual stories and show actual graphs and different things in here as well. So please let me know if you like that. Please comment in here if you'd like to see more of that. Bitcoin is a life raft on a sinking ship, a freedom technology where your wealth is stored in your head and no one can do a damn thing. It's finite and can't be inflated away out of your grasp. All the trash above all these things eliminated because of crony leaders And they can't hide their practices now outside the blockchain because now we can all see it. It's immutable. They can't change it. And it's finite. So they can't overspend and they can't drag us out into these endless debacles. The least cool aspect of Bitcoin is, like I've said many times, that's great. You might get super wealthy like the charts I just showed. And you're probably going to if you hold it over the next 10 to 20, 50, 100 years. You're going to get extremely wealthy. That's the least cool part because the coolest aspect of it is that you have freedom. It's FU money. It's something that cannot be taken away from you. It's code. It's free speech. It cannot be taken away if you hold it in cold storage. If you hold it in an exchange or something like that, then it definitely could be taken from you. So you have to have good practices. Like you're your own bank. You're your own vault. You have to do that. It's simple. So it's just a couple of things you have to learn, but it's simple at the end of the day. Again, the least cool aspect is price. There's so many other freedom generating opportunities with Bitcoin. And the other part about all this is that when you're not having to run the hamster wheel all the time and losing your economic energy through fiat currencies and you have a stable store of value that keeps increasing over time, now you don't have to worry about, hey, what am I going to do in retirement? Because my asset is appreciating. And some of you might remember, dollars, it used to appreciate 50 years ago, it used to appreciate 15% a year. That's amazing. Well, Bitcoin appreciates at 100% a year, 150%. So imagine saving your currency in something that's appreciating 100% a year, 150% a year instead of 15% or now 0.001%. Now we can start, because we're holding a currency long term that's going to give us actual wealth, we can now go and do things that we're called to do instead of just running on the hamster wheel just to make ends meet each month. Again, Canadian truckers getting frozen or accounts frozen can't happen in Bitcoin. War breaks out, no worries. Grab your wallet, your cold storage wallet, or just remember the recovery phrase and just leave and walk to the next country. Altcoins and other imposters, stocks or bonds built off a Ponzi scheme, no worries. Put faith in code and free speech and sit back. Fake projects blowing up around you, exchange owners saying get off the exchange and get your coins in your own custody. Again, not worried about it if your Bitcoin's in cold storage and you own just Bitcoin. Again, coins out there being peddled by World Economic Forum acolytes and Klaus himself, like Chainlink, Ethereum, Ripple. Go look it up on the World Economic Forum website. We've showed it on here before. No worries, grab your Bitcoin. No one controls it. There's no owner, there's no CEO, there's no marketing team. Government's destroying your currency through rate manipulation, inflation, bailouts, entitlement, reparations, bail-ins, helicopter drops of money, transfer payments, hyperinflation. No worries, grab some Bitcoin and chill. No one controls it, and mathematically goes up over time as governments print more and more currency. So Bitcoin is mathematically guaranteed to go up in price. That's how we know it's going to go up in price, because it is inverse of government printing. And we know a debt-based society, we have to keep printing. So we know the value of the currency is going to keep falling. Therefore, Bitcoin will keep rising. It's mathematics. The world's largest asset manager, BlackRock, just announced Bitcoin is the primary subject of interest from our clients within crypto. Again, BlackRock, all these people coming in, not wanting, trying to poo-poo it, trying to drive the price down so they can get it at a better price. And now you're seeing a lot of these people, Wall Street greed, a lot of these people get into Bitcoin. Now is that time to enter because it's 20,000. It's a third of its all-time high. Bitcoin is the only true way you can force mass change in the crony capitalist war complex system without firing a bullet or having to rely on corrupt elections. Opt out now and say no to the madness. Vote with your wallet. Make your vote by owning and self-custody Bitcoin, and the legacy system will continue to fade away into the sunset over the years. Who can actually say life is on a trajectory that's going to make life much better 10 years from now? Who can honestly say that? Is the fiat system really providing us this life that's just going to be so wonderful? Are schools teaching kids in kindergarten the things they need to learn and get ahead in life? Truly? Getting into debt 10 years later when they're going to higher education? What governments have made hard for people to see is that deflation will make everything cheap and your Bitcoin will be worth a lot. People don't realize that deflation is coming. That's what governments are fighting. Ben Bernanke wrote this in 2002, a huge paper. Don't read it. It's a waste of time. It's called Deflation. Can't happen here. Won't happen here. Why it can't happen here. They are doing everything they can to print as much currency as possible, transferring wealth, again, from the middle class to them and the poor to them. And they are so vehemently afraid of depression, of deflation, because they think it's the end of the world. A lot of them have just taught that, and that's all they know. But a lot of them don't want it because that means the end of their power. And it's coming whether we want to or not. They've been fighting deflation for years. Velocity is slowing down, technological advancement, and depression are going to cause these things. And these are very deflationary measures. Depression, people can't make their payments anymore. Technological advancement, obviously people being kicked out of work by robots, by AR, VR, whatever it might be. These are coming. So we have to get prepared for it now. deflation creates order and higher living standards throughout the world, though. We've been told inflation is the only way to live. Got to have 2% inflation a year because everyone's prices go up. Well, what if your payment just stayed the same each year, but the cost of everything just kept falling each year? That'd be a lot better. That'd be a lot nicer, wouldn't it? Again, Michael Saylor, who I've learned a ton from about Bitcoin, talking about, even his battle 10 years ago. He thought Bitcoin, he didn't look into it much, and he disregarded it, and then just got into it a couple years ago, saying the same thing about BlackRock's Larry Fink. Everyone eventually sees the light. Everyone will get laser eyes. The elites do not want this because it takes power away from them and distributes it back to the populace. What cooler thing in the world? I mean, there's nothing in the world that gives me goosebumps. I know I'm weird, but freedom, giving freedom, taking it away from evil people and then giving it back to the population so they can go do what they are called to do, to go invent things, to go create, to go spend time with their families. Nothing makes me happier than to see things like that. This is why it means so much to me, but it also means so much to everyone, because I've talked to people for 20 years. Well, politics don't matter to me. How does it affect me? This is not that big of a deal. It all affects you. Everything you do, the taxes you pay, the money you make, the time you spend away from your family, what your kids learn in school, all this is politics, all of it. And if we take the power away from the corrupt leaders and the politicians, the 1%, the leaders, the puppet masters, it goes away. 90, 95, 99% of this just goes away over the next number of decades. Inflation shrouds their actions in a cloak of currency printing, enabling them to steal your wealth, which is your property and freedom. Again, I ask you, do you think we are better off than we were 30 years ago? Do you think our culture or the world is on a better trajectory 10 or 20 years from now? Again, we showed the misery index. Go back and look at some of our videos about the misery index and what was going on there during that entire time. It is incredible what was happening there. The misery index shows us we're in a depression right now. Bitcoin ushers in an era of reality and truth. Bitcoin ushers in deflation. Inflation has brought us the chaos we are about to live through. We are living through now, and it's about to get a lot worse. Again, I've said this for a long time. It is going to get worse. The attacks are coming from everywhere. We got the president over here, no person talking, should have to choose between going to the doctor and inflation. Well, I thought Obamacare was going to fix that. When you were in office, Mr. President, 10 years ago, 12 years ago, 2010, you guys passed that, jammed that through in a reconciliation vote again, or something like that, a backdoor vote, and it was supposed to, no more than $2,500 a month, $25 decrease, and your payments will go down. Anything but that happened. I mean, my insurance payments went from like $200 a month to they're now, a year ago, they were $1,200 a month. The premiums. What is going on? I mean, absolute insanity. What is going on? Again, Bitcoin fixes this. And I'd love to talk to anyone about this whole process and system, because I've had many debates and people ask me about these things. And truth be told, a lot of it has, because most people I've talked to about it just don't know much about Bitcoin. They don't know much about it. They just what they've heard from the media, which is fine. So my job is to try to educate people on Bitcoin and the properties it contains that makes it so powerful. And again, I'm talking about lowering inflation. We're going to spend $600 billion to lower inflation. We're going to spend to decrease inflation. Inflation is only an expansion of the monetary supply. It's government printing of currency. That's all inflation is. That's the definition of it. So don't let them fool you. And it's not going to make healthcare any more affordable, because they already told us that 10, 12 years ago. So anyone who believes them, again, I guess, shame on you. Fool me once, right? I don't know who falls for this stuff, quite honestly. And again, Mark Moss talking about what happened here just recently, which is the government trying to go after some of the altcoins, these scams, the people shrouding their identity in secrecy. One was just arrested, a coder, developer in Amsterdam. So Mark Moss talking about this very thing. We are going to be under attack. People that want freedom, take freedom away from powerful people, are going to be under attack. We already are under attack. Many of us are deemed terrorists already. But the good people must stand. Evil, it only exists because good people stand by silently. Freedom's under attack from every angle. Speech, payments, movement. A protocol is public utility, a tool used for good and bad. Criminals use phones, internet, cars, and roads. Oh, and they also eat and drink. This is being used to box us in. Stay alert out there. This is a great point. Are we going to get rid of cars for everybody? Because you know what? Criminals use those too. Right? Firearms. Let's pass more laws. Only good people follow them, but by golly, let's pass more laws. Definitely going to stop bad people from doing things, right? Just like those gun-free school zones. That really works. Okay? Put a bunch of signs on there and say, hey, Stay out, bad guys. What are we doing? Literally, what are we doing? Humans have never had this chance to escape before. Bitcoin gives us that chance. Returning sanity and reality and truth, merit back to life. Stay strong. If you got anything out of this, please share it. Please like and subscribe. Please share it with somebody you think might appreciate it. If you don't appreciate it, if you hate it, please let me know that as well. Please comment. Let me know what you think. Please let me know what else you would like to see, what else we could change here. I appreciate your time, your energy, watching these videos. The most important thing that we have is our time. So please use your time wisely. Hopefully this is worth your time. Please let me know if it is or it isn't. And again, go look at our videos we've done and our posts on inflation, so many on inflation, on ESG, on the misery index, and where we really are as a society and what can help us get out of that. And again, I know I sound like a broken record with Bitcoin, and my family makes fun of me. You know, everything always comes back to Bitcoin, but you know, sound money is the answer. Like we said in the beginning, money is the root of all evil, but it's not what you think it is. Money and what people do with it is the root of all evil, not money itself. If we have true money, things can change. Appreciate you. See you on the next one.